to all the laws we have.
In order to fix the state budget deficit, we've got to take a look and go back to the 2006 budget, when the other side pretty much there expanded, exploded, and the budget, where they've brought up 27% in increases in money. We've got to go back to where we were. We've got to be able to make some tough decisions to make sure that we're protecting the interests of the taxpayers, the businesses. We're scaring businesses away. We've got to, in order to help businesses and to generate more money in the state, we've got to get rid of the BET tax so business owners can reinvest in their businesses and hire more people. There's a lot. We've got to roll our sleeves up and make some tough decisions. And what's a shame is everybody's trying to protect their own little bubbles in this budget there, but they've got to understand that this is the taxpayers' money. We're a small state. We don't have a state tax. We don't have a base payroll tax. So we have to work smart with people's money and not hard.
I keep hearing about the state budget deficit, but I also keep hearing that we have a balanced deficit. I've heard the number $800 million tossed around, and the way it's been explained to me is that that has been projected out into the future a number of years. I don't know how many years. I think, for one thing, and I know it's the kiss of death, but I think it's time for the state to give serious consideration to a broad-based tax, particularly to fund our schools. You put it all on the back of homeowners, and young families and seniors have an awful hard time paying for it and staying in their houses.
What has to be done to fix the state budget deficit is what I referred to in my opening comments. Right now, we are spending more than we're taking in. That has to stop. And as I said, over the last 4 years, the two budgets passed, the general fund's budgets passed, were increased by 17.5% in the first term and 7% in the last term. Where every other state in the country has been reducing their spending by 2 to 3%, the Democrats in Concord increased the spending by almost 25%. That has to stop. We have to take a look at all our revenues, and we have to spend within our means, as every household in the state of New Hampshire and the citizens in Londonderry and Auburn do. We cannot continue to spend more than we take in, and that means a reduction in spending.
Our state is facing tremendous economic issues. It's occurred throughout the nation, and we're definitely feeling the impact locally. What we need to do is we do need to tighten our budget. We need to look at all of our statewide departments and promote efficiency rather than waste. Annual looking into what is needed and what is being done in each of the departments needs to be assessed and looked at. I don't believe we have been doing that enough, and I believe looking at where we can cut appropriately without feeling the impact of our local citizens directly that'll hinder their possibilities of having a good life, having a home, making money is important. I am intending on not taking anything off the table. I do not believe we should have Democratic ideas or Republican ideas. They should be good ideas. And that's why I would work across the aisle regardless, because we all are going to be facing tough choices. And unless we do that, and unless we use our common sense on very basic issues, we will be in very difficult times.
To begin with, you've got to stop borrowing money for operating expenses. The revenues haven't been bad. They've been down coming in, but we've increased spending so much that the revenues haven't been keeping up. So someplace you have to reduce the spending. And we have a lot of things that are minimal. The status for women, a few things that you could cut easily, but it's not enough money. So I think the big thing you've got to watch out for this year is whether they go after education funding, because the budget's going to be probably $200 or $300 million in the hole, and in order to do something about that, you have to go after the big bucks, so to speak. So I think that that's one of the things that's going to be cut, and Londonderry, that's one of our biggest expenses, and so are most of the other towns. So you have to guard against that. And the other thing is, I don't know whether we've maxed out on federal funding or not, but we're going to have to try and get as much as we can, and we're going to have to watch expenditures.
We have to determine where our money is coming from and how much of it's going to be there before we make commitments to spend it. In the past, the powers that be right now actually stood on the floor of the House and specifically stated, we have to see how much we want to spend and then we're going to find it. You can't operate unless you know how much you've got, and you've got to live within your means. There is no question about it. This state can get, we do not need, under any circumstance, a sales tax, nor do we need an income tax. We just have to do a little better job of managing the money that we have and stop giving it away in the form of promises that we know we can't keep.
It's a very difficult question. I voted for limited expanded gambling because particularly at the racetracks, they gamble there already. I believe that the state of New Hampshire could do a very good job with that, and of course that didn't pass. A lot of the spending items have been voted on, have to get voted out. The fee increases have to be reduced back to where they were. Every single thing from registering your car, anything you do is going to cost you more due to the Democrats having raised all the fees. And I'd like to be re-elected so that we can readjust that and revisit a lot of the problems that we're going to have in Londonderry, particularly with the school aid.
Well, we went to the Josiah Bartlett Center, and I worked as an accountant. And some of the conversations I had with other people there who are in business, it is very complicated. And when something is that complicated, then you cannot understand it and you can't have transparency. I believe that it has to reflect almost like a business, what comes in, what's going out. The general fund has to be, I believe, broken down so that it actually shows where the money is going. So when someone comes up and says we need money or a new program, it comes out of the general fund, but it should be broken down so anybody, a citizen that doesn't know much about accounting, could look at it